Hello and welcome to the VRC, where behind me we have the Windgoo M20 e-scooter. It's one of the most comfortable scooters I've ever ridden, but it does come with one pretty big problem. Hello and welcome back to the VRC, and if you do like VR or technology like e-scooters and things like that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a video. Now let's get straight into how this scooter was sent and unpacked. Try not to say that much. Okay. That's quite good. I've got to say, I do like unpacking e-scooters. They're never very complicated to put together. All it took is to put the handlebars on, and that was about it really. All the wheels were connected, all the brakes were connected. There's no seats to connect, no pedals to connect. It's all nice and quick, which is what I like to see. As you can see, it's a good looking scooter. The chunky air-filled tyres do give it a really nice stance. You can see there's disc brakes at the front and there's disc brakes at the rear. And when you use those disc brakes, the brake light lights up too. Feel quite nice, again, not a name brand. And the bell's quite, that's really impressed with the bell actually. It's a nice pleasant sound, and you can see that mechanism is very satisfying indeed. The computer, very nice, but it can be a bit hard to see in direct sunlight sometimes, so let's go to a darker place to take a closer look. To turn it on, all you do is press the power button. There's 3 buttons there. Cycle through the speed settings, lowest being 1, 2 and 3. You've got a trip computer, and the power button you can use to turn the lights on and off. And here is how good that light is at night time. The light did seem nice and bright, however, when I went next to it on my unicycle, you could tell there was a big difference. The light on the M20 is bright enough that people can see you, but you won't want to use it to get through dark forests in the middle of the night. You can see that compared to something like the iScooter i9, it is quite chunky. And you might notice it's got rear suspension too, which, let me tell you, does work very well. I wasn't sure if it's had front suspension. It does say dual suspension, but I couldn't see anything at the front that actually goes up and down. But I do suspect that quite often these companies, when they say dual suspension, they actually mean there's 2 springs. So one there, 2 meaning dual. So it kind of leads you to think dual means front and rear, but actually it just means the 2 springs on the back. So therefore, if they had it on the front as well, they might say quadruple, although quite often the front suspension is just like 1 spring. So since it does have dual disc brakes, it does obviously have dual handles. Some scooters use engine braking, where you've got something similar to a throttle that activates the brake. This has got a thumb throttle, which works just like any other thumb throttle really. So now we're taking a closer look at the scooter. Let's see what it was like when I first got on. So first things first, how does it cope up the good old hill by my house? Right, it's got cruise control, so that's just kicked in. It's on level 1. I'm going to bump it up to, we're going 10 kilometers per hour, which is obviously terrible. Woo! Okay, cruise control came off when I went up to level 2. So what we're doing now feels pretty slow. It's really smooth actually. I quite like the how it feels with the air-filled tyres. Air-filled tyres and suspension. It's quite luxurious for a commuting scooter. Didn't seem to be a way to change the speed. I couldn't see if there was an app. I don't think there's an app. Yeah, quite often you get an app, and in the app you can increase the maximum speed, as with the iScooter i9. Some scooters just come with a higher speed automatically. This one, they seem to be kind of trying to play it legal, although, you know, e-scooters currently illegal. So yeah, this is definitely not going to be a speed test video, because he just does not want me to go right. Steady, steady. Oh wow, wow, that was impressive. Let's try these. So these big bumps here, these are always like killing me. Wow, it just gallops over them. I'm so impressed with how comfortable this is. The battery's showing 3 bars. It was fully charged. If you were using a scooter to go somewhere, like to work or whatever, you shouldn't really be going faster than this. And obviously the The faster you are, the more likely you are to die if you fall off. So in terms of specs, it's got a 350 watt brushless motor. It's got a range of about 22 kilometers, and it's got a 36 volt battery with an 8 amp hour capacity. Charge time is 4 to 5 hours. Now sadly the max speed is capped off at 25 kilometers per hour, which is about 15.5 miles per hour. Unfortunately, unlike other scooters, there's no app where you can increase the speed to about 19 miles an hour or something like that. Other scooters come with just a setting that takes you up to 19 miles an hour. Sadly, this is capped at 15 miles an hour, and you can tell it is electronically capped because it does cut out when you get there, and it quite easily gets you up to 15 miles an hour. 24. There's 3 speed settings. Oh, it's gone to 26. That's weird. Oh, 25. You see how it loses, it cuts power as soon as it gets to above 25 miles an hour. It's a nice looking scooter, and it's so comfortable, so nice to ride. If you're a commuter and you want to go to work on it, this is going to get you there in a very comfortable and sedate way. The acceleration is not instant, it eases you into it. It's got a really kind of like steady acceleration. So if you're wanting a scooter to go fast on, this is not the scooter for you. But if you want a scooter to be comfortable on, you might like it. There's a lot of good things about this scooter. I really like that it's air-filled tyres, which means it's a lot more comfortable than the honeycomb type you get on some other scooters. However, you can get punctures. I haven't got one yet, but it could happen. The tyres are so good that I wouldn't want to do this on another scooter. I really like the scooter's platform. It's nice and wide and there's plenty of room for your feet. I really like the really simple folding mechanism where you've just got a little tiny catch in there and you can pull it down and off it goes. However, I don't like the way it attaches here, where you've got to kind of find a little hook and hook it over like that little there, hook it over that. And sometimes I put my feet there and I don't really want to damage it accidentally. Let's say it was up, I accidentally left it up and I knocked it off because I'm pretty clumsy. It could happen. I really like that it's rear wheel drive, so it's being pushed instead of pulled. It gives itself a kind of sporty feeling, but sadly the motor can't keep up with it. I actually had a drag race with my son, who's 6 years old, and this is what happened.
Go!
If you get on it and just try and go with 0 start, this happens. Flat ground, 0 start. There we go. Now the weight capacity of the scooter is 120 kilograms, but that brings us on to the big problem that I found with this scooter. So I took it on my usual route, which is probably about 3 to 4 miles, and about 3 miles in, basically it conked out. On the route I take, there is a hill, and I went up the hill and it was struggling a bit. I feel like something happened. Maybe the controller got a bit overworked, or maybe the battery voltage dropped too much. I don't know what happened, but from that point onwards, it really didn't want to go. Nope. Oh no. So I got onto Windgoo about it. They were really happy to send me another one. They sent me another one, and then I went on a trip again with my cousin, and then the same thing happened again. Oh, mine's slowed down a bit. Yeah, mine's slowed. Is yours all right? Yeah. I think I might have done it again. I weigh 100 kilograms and it really didn't want to take me that far. So I would say that if you weigh anywhere near 100 kilograms, this scooter is not for you. The way it conked out when I was on it, I am wondering if they've locked the top speed, because it is more likely to conk out when people are on it. And let's say it was unlocked. Maybe a 60 to 70 kilogram person would have the same experience I did, which obviously isn't really good enough. Now, when you consider that I've gone a lot further on scooters of a similar power, it kind of makes you wonder what rating the insides of this scooter's actually got. Let's go and take a look inside there. So there is the lithium ion battery. It's upside down for me, but I'll flip it for you. But 36 volts, 288 watt hours, 8 amp hour capacity. There's the little controller. Oh man, why does it have to be? It's actually already hot. I've barely ridden this. Ooh, what is it? Oh man, it's screwed in. Screwed in. Why'd you have to be screwed in? Let's pull it out. Question is there a reason why the label of this controller is hidden? I've just realised my screwdriver's got a torch. Pop out. What's it say? Here we go. Rated power, 350 watts. It's got the speed on it, 25 kilometers per hour. Current limiting, 16 amps. Interesting. But it is already hot. And I've got to be honest, today I've ridden it over the field to take these videos, and then I rode it back and I went down a few curbs. I'm not sure it should be that hot. It's really annoying actually, this scooter, because the tyres are so decent and the suspension is so good. It's actually really good at going off-road. Twig. Ow. But sadly, the motor really doesn't live up to how good the scooter actually looks. I mean, look at that. How cool is that? Do you know what I think I'd like to do? Is I'd like to kind of keep that scooter, but then maybe do a few upgrades on it so it actually gets the grunt that it deserves. So the controller inside here was a maximum of 16 amps. Obviously that doesn't mean it's rated to run at 16 amp constantly, but according to the specs of the battery, 36 volts, and the amps of the controller that it can take from the battery, this at any one given time should be able to output 576 volts. Now sadly, we are totally locked out of the computer, which means we can't, like on other e-bikes and e-scooters, we can't adjust the maximum amps coming out of it. And I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume that inside the controller, the computer, the number of amps that it can take from the battery and give to the motor has been reduced. Possibly, maybe not, but possibly because they know about the controller being a bit dodgy. I could be wrong. I haven't tested it with any sort of equipment to find out which bit is the dodgy bit, but I do genuinely suspect that some part of the chain is a bit dodgy, and they've tried to limit it in the computers so that we cannot get the full power and we are less likely to experience what I experienced on 2 of their scooters. So at 300 to 350 pounds, do I recommend you buy it? Well, to sum up, I love the way it looks. I love the tyres. I love the suspension. It is genuinely the most comfortable scooter I've tried. I've got 2 other dual suspension scooters, and this is more comfortable than them. In fact, one of them is dual suspension with a suspension saddle as well, and this is more comfortable than that. So if you know that you don't weigh that much and your commute is not too much more than 2 miles, maybe it'd be all right for you, but you could probably get a better scooter for the same money. So there you go, the Windgoo M20, a gorgeous, comfortable e-scooter with a dodgy set of lungs. Well, you have been watching a VRC tech video, and that was the review of the Windgoo M20, and I am probably lying in cat shit. If you're still here, thanks for sticking around to the end. You are truly the greatest supporters of this channel, and until next time, stay safe and take care of yourselves. See ya!